Howdy folks, still locked down. What day is it? About 9? I've lost track. But we're no longer in March, it's now April. I thought I'd do something completely different today. An educational video, as so many of you are stuck at home with your children doing homeschooling. Children need educating, and hopefully today they'll get educated. As I live in Lincolnshire, and Lincolnshire is the most important agricultural county in the UK, and one of the most important parts of Europe as well, agriculturally speaking, I'm going to talk about modern agriculture and modern food production. Should be fascinating. I had to write some notes. It's quite complicated, this. So bear with me. You might learn something by the end of the day. Right, as you can see, I'm next to a field. Farmer's been working on it. He hasn't sown anything yet. Been held up by the rains. It's only in the last couple of weeks that they've been able to do anything with the land. It's been so wet. As I've lived in Lincolnshire for much of my life, on and off, and I've studied geography, and I worked in the food industry for decades, I think I am very suitably qualified to talk about agriculture and the food industry as we know it today. Very well qualified. Which of the many products, crops that grow here in Lincolnshire shall I talk about first? Let's show you the soil here. As you can see, lots of chalk and flint. Is that ideal for growing wine? Just like in France. What do they refer to the soil quality over there? The terroir? Something like that. So we've got exactly the same sort of soils here. Yeah. We grow all sorts of wines here. Good quality stuff. Cheap stuff. Yeah, for the this is for the ladies, this bit actually, because I know they enjoy their wines. For good quality stuff, you have to use corks. You have to plant corks. Stick them in the ground and they grow vines. Months later, the wine's ready to be picked. And at that time of the year, thousands of migrant workers come in from Eastern Europe to harvest the wine. It's a very delicate crop. Many of the other crops I'm going to talk about today are harvested by machine. There's no people involved at all. But for wine, very delicate. So they pick those bottles off the vines and pack them into cases. 6 or 9 bottles to a case. I'm sure you know how many. Anyway, yeah, they go off to the labelling plants where they get labelled up. For those of you that can't afford the good stuff, we also have fields where they grow the cheap plonk, where you just drink it just to get pissed. So for that, screw tops. Plant the screw tops in, vines sprout, a few months later, bottles are ready. Migrant labourers come in, they don't get paid as much as the high quality wine pickers. They shove it in boxes and off it goes to the labelling plant. Job done. And off to the supermarkets. So that's product number 1, wine. We grow everything here in Lincolnshire. What else have we got? Oh yeah, there's absolutely loads of stuff here. Agriculture and food has changed enormously during my lifetime. I'm not going to talk about how it used to be, I'm going to talk about how it is now. Right. One very popular product which you shall find in all supermarkets here in Britain and Europe and North America, frozen chips. Very popular. So, yeah, nobody has a deep fryer anymore. Just get the frozen chips out of the freezer, stick them in the oven, cook them. But how do you grow frozen chips? Well, you have to start with a seed crop. You get one chip and plant it. That chip has been kept in the dark in storage until it starts to grow a few sprouts, a few roots. Then it goes in the ground. Fertilizer added, rains, and deep underground, more chips come out from that one chip. You could end up with maybe 50 chips coming off that one seed chip. They have to be planted and grown in the winter time, otherwise obviously they would defrost. This is frozen stuff we're talking about here. Same goes for frozen peas. They're planted out in the winter time and harvested in the winter time. Another vine crop, you plant one, hundreds of them come off and shoots, and they get picked by machinery, just like frozen chips. They're picked by machines, no people involved. There's not a lot of future as a job in agriculture because it's all done by machines now, GPS controlled tractors and harvesters. So yeah, that's frozen peas. Frozen peas and the frozen chips, they get picked, put into frozen containers straight away and trucked off to Grimsby, which is just up the road, where it's packed, bags. And then herbs and spices were added as well. Now, I must explain, with chips, there's very many different types. There's crinkle cut, there's French fries, steak cut, and there's the regular cut. They're all grown in different fields. You can't grow French fries in the same field as steak cut chips. It just doesn't work. Or crinkle cuts. Crinkle cuts are, they're a bit dodgy. They get special treatment. Next crop. What's next? Look at my notes. Everybody's favourite here in the UK, baked beans in tomato sauce. It's dodgy, this one. It takes a bit of skill to grow baked beans in tomato sauce. You can't just plant out a bean. You have to treat the bean first. You have to coat it in a very concentrated sauce, tomato sauce, very highly concentrated. The herbs and spices are mixed in as well, give it the flavour. And then each bean is planted out by machine in nice neat rows. And a few months later, this is a summer crop, because it doesn't have to be frozen. This is a summer crop. A few months later, it gets picked by a machine, all GPS controlled. One guy can harvest hundreds of acres in no time. There's no future as employment in agriculture, folks. One man, one tractor can do the work of a lot of people. So those beans get harvested, complete with their coating of tomato sauce with herbs and spices. They are then shipped off again to Grimsby, where they get dumped into huge great vats, and water is added. So all that initial concentrate of sauce around the bean is then diluted into a sauce we are used to. And they'll get canned and shipped off to the supermarket. So baked beans in tomato sauce, who'd have thunked it? Right, one of the very popular summer products, pre-cooked burgers. Now we don't grow them here. These are grown indoors under glass. They're grown from seeds on indoor barbecues, giant indoor barbecues. So when you get them, they're already burned. You don't have to worry about burning them. They're already burned. And in recent years, with the growth of vegetarianism and veganism, they've had to change the style of burgers. They've had to go to veggie burgers. These are grown on trees. Again, not round here. There's just not a lot of trees around here. The soil's not good enough. But, yeah, they get picked by hand. Again, East European migrant workers. They come in, get paid minimum wage, work like dogs, and pick and pack veggie burgers all day long. Now then, here's a product for the guys. I know how much you're probably looking forward to hearing about this one. Growing beer. Many of you will have seen a few videos already on YouTube and Facebook about how to grow beer in your back garden. Small scale stuff. You know, you plant a few bottle tops, etc., etc. And, you know, a few months later, you've got beer. Bottles and bottles of it. But up here, we do it on an industrial scale. Vast acreages of growing beer. Very similar method to how you do it in your back garden. Lots of neat beds, raised beds, and bottle tops are planted, yeah, about 6 inches apart, row after row after row of them. There's obviously different types. You can use screw-on bottle tops, the flip-off ones. For those of you who like the canned beers, I'm not sure who does really, but so in that case, they plant ring pools, millions and millions of ring pools. For those of you who like keg beer, straight out of the barrel, that's a little more difficult. That one's grown again under glass. Keg beer takes a lot of care and handling. You can't just chuck a keg out into a field and expect it to grow. It takes a lot of nurturing. Alright, what's next? Oh yeah, let's carry on a little bit. Eggs. It's coming up to Easter time. So there'll be a lot of cream eggs required. Now these come from assorted different types of birds, different species. Paper's in the way there. Obviously the small cream eggs and caramel eggs, they come from your bog standard hen. They're all caged, unfortunately, you know, battery hens just producing cream egg after cream egg after cream egg. Some of them get to do caramel eggs as well. They are fed a diet of cocoa beans, sugar and cream. And the good hens, they can lay 2 or 3 a day. They don't go off, you know, they're kept in storage for a long time, boxed up. You can get, what, 5 or 6 in a box nowadays? But they don't have a good life, you know, they're kept indoors, fed this high sugar diet. They're not the best of chickens, hens, should I say. Now then, as you'll be aware, there are many different types of Easter egg. You know, they come in many different sizes, so there's no way your bog standard hen is going to be able to lay anything bigger than, you know, cream egg sort of size, standard egg size. This is where turkeys come in. For, you know, something that's about the size of your hand, then big turkeys get to lay these. Again, they're fed the same sort of diet, lots and lots of cocoa beans, bit of sugar, bit of cream. And, you know, we have some turkey farms around here, and also some hens as well. Busy laying eggs all year. Easter's what, in 2 weeks' time, week and a half's time? For those of you who have to buy, the luxury eggs, the really big ones, for your wife, your girlfriend, your mistress, etc. Obviously, a hen or a turkey's not going to be able to lay them. So, ostriches. There's an ostrich farm a few miles down the road. I used to pass it on the way to work. So they get to lay the big stuff. Again, same diet, obviously more of it. And away they go. Laying enormous great eggs. Chocolate eggs. So that's how we do Easter in this country. Big birds, little birds. What else have we got? Oh yeah. Now Grimsby, many years ago, was a major fishing port. And something I believe was invented there, which is spread around the world. Fish fingers. Now fish fingers are grown in the sea, of course. They're harvested on trawlers, brought ashore, pre-frozen. Again, they're harvested up in the Arctic. Obviously, you can't have frozen fish fingers growing down here. It's too warm. Up in the Arctic, frozen all year long. They're brought down here. They're coated in breadcrumbs. Gluten-free, of course, because, everyone's so allergic to all these things nowadays. There's so many food allergies. That's why so many of these crops are grown the way they are nowadays. You can't have peanuts getting into these things, or any dairy stuff, or sesame, or anything like that. So that's the reason why we grow crops nowadays, the way we do, the way I've been talking about. Now then, much of Lincolnshire is just arable. We grow crops, but there are a few areas, like this field I'm in now, where they keep livestock. And there's another field over there, they keep livestock, cattle and sheep. Now this is where they grow kebabs, lamb kebabs. They're grown here all year long. Because, doesn't matter how you keep a lamb kebab, you're going to cook it and eat it and throw up. So it doesn't matter about how you keep it. We also grow woolly jumpers here. There's not many of them. You have to go to Australia really for that. But there's a few woolly jumpers grown here. They only come in white though. There's a few black ones. There are a few black ones. Hebridean sheep. Black woolly jumpers. But if you want the colourful stuff, multicoloured woolly jumpers, kind of stuck. You have to get some dyes and do it yourself. So we don't do that sort of thing here. It's white or black if you're lucky. So that, folks, is modern agriculture and food production in Britain 2020. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you've learned something. Take it back to your teachers when school's open again and tell them what it's all about. You could write essay after essay about this stuff. You'll know everything now, don't you? Everything. For all. Salute. Right, guys, there's an important point I forgot to mention when it comes to growing beer. If you want to grow lager, you have to grow it as a winter crop. Obviously, lager has to be kept cold, so again, it's a winter crop. Bitter, mild, stouts, those sort of things, it doesn't matter. Room temperature, you can grow those in the summertime. But if you're going to plant out lager, make sure you do it in the winter time, okay?